Hey, welcome back. This is episode 40 of the. Here's what we're covering today. Understanding the rollover data model challenge, then, designing parent-child relationship pruning, then, dynamic retail date shifting mechanics, then, Apex batch architecture for mass execution, then, budget remapping and fund validation rules. Stay for the last one, it's the piece most tutorials miss. Let me explain this simply. Hey there. Today, we're tackling one of the most requested topics in consumer goods cloud: how to design a high-performing trade promotion rollover engine. It's not as simple as cloning records. We have to manage complex parent-child relations, date shifts, and off-platform calculations.
That sounds incredibly tricky. If we just clone them, don't we risk breaking our active budgets and copying over historic, stale KPI data?
Imagine it is December, and a consumer goods giant needs to copy 10,000 promotions from this year to the next. In TPM, you can't just run a simple clone statement in Apex and call it a day. If you do, you risk copying stale KPI data, linking to expired budgets, or breaking the strict date alignments required by retail calendars. Let's say a promotion for Christmas must shift its dates to align with next year's weekends. That's why we need a robust, scalable rollover engine to handle complex parent-child relationships and metadata transformations smoothly. Let's look at the database layer to understand our payload. When copying a promotion, we are cloning the master cloud __ promotion __ C record along with its child cloud __ tactic __ C records. However, we must explicitly exclude transactional write-back records, actual volume logs, and historical claims. Instead, we must reinstantiate empty KPI metadata templates so the off-platform processing services can recalculate the baseline volumes from scratch. Think of it like copying a spreadsheet template but wiping out last year's raw input cells to prevent polluting our fresh new forecast. Now, you might ask, should we use the off-platform processing services or native Apex to clone these records? For single promotion copies initiated by an account manager, we invoke a lightweight Lightning Web component that triggers an on-platform copy. But for massive year-over-year batch rollovers, we offload the heavy lifting to our middleware or a specialized queuable Apex pattern. We write a custom mapping class that reads JSON configurations of our promotion templates, preventing heap size limits when handling hundreds of nested records simultaneously. Date shifting is where many TPM projects fail. If a Thanksgiving promotion ran from November 22 to November 28 last year, you can't just add exactly 365 days, because holidays shift and weekends change. We must use dynamic date offset formulas mapped against the retailer's 4-4-5 trading calendar. In Apex, we calculate the day-of-week delta to ensure the new promotion starts on the same weekday as the previous year. This keeps our trade calendar aligned with shipping windows and prevents inventory mismatches at the retailer's warehouses. Let's look at the core code pattern for our batch copy engine. We design an iterable batch Apex class that queries source promotions and structures them as virtual wrapper objects. Instead of inserting records one by one, we insert parents, collect their new IDs, map them back to the clone child tactics, and perform a bulk insert. Here is a quick code pattern. We loop through children, set parent ID equals parentMap.get, old ID, and clear out unique integration keys to avoid duplicate key exceptions. This bulkified approach keeps transaction limits healthy. What happens to funds and budgets during a rollover? If you blindly copy a promotion, it might point to last year's closed budget, leading to immediate validation errors or accidental budget drawdowns. Our rollover engine must dynamically swap the old fund ID with the new active fiscal year's fund ID using a metadata lookup table. Imagine pointing your digital wallet to a fresh bank account instead of your expired credit card. This decoupling ensures that we preserve the integrity of both old and new financial ledgers. Before the newly cloned promotions are committed and set to draft or planned, they must pass through a strict sanity check orchestration. This layer checks if the products in last year's promotion are still active in the current product assortment. We also run automated balance checks against the target fund to ensure the cloned budget estimate doesn't immediately put us in a negative balance. If any validation fails, we log the exception to a custom tracking object, allowing trade planners to review and fix the issues manually. To summarize, a successful promotion rollover architecture requires three main pillars: smart relationship pruning, dynamic date shifting, and robust batch execution. Never build this synchronously because you will hit the 10-second CPU timeout limit on your very first run. Instead, design a configurable UI that lets trade planners filter promotions by category, adjust the target dates, and run the rollover asynchronously. This architecture keeps your Salesforce org highly responsive while preparing your... Alright, let's wrap up. Here are the key things to remember. Never use simple direct cloning, prune operational fields and transactional historical data systematically. Utilize 4-4-5 calendar logic and day-of-week deltas to prevent critical holiday shifting errors. Implement map-based bulk insert patterns in batch apex to avoid hitting standard transaction limits. Enforce dynamic fund remapping to shield closed historical budgets from corruption. If this helped, hit like, it really helps the channel. Next up, TPM real-time inventory integration and logistics alignment architecture. See you tomorrow.